I think that maybe some of us like these traumatized Order 66 Jedi, as we call them, because I mean, we're all the same age here. We've gone through a lot of crap and like events in the world in our
Yeah.
lives, so maybe we
right?
kind of like relate to that. Those are the
like that.
millennial Jedi. So
Oh God, they
Oh
are.
They
gosh,
are-
but
They
yeah,
The
they
millennials
really are
are
though.
the Jedi that survived Order 66. That's
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
There you go. That's that.
I came here for
There we
that
go.
kind of take.
Good.
Incoming transmission from an unknown source. It seems to be urgent. Patching them through. They're calling themselves the HoloNet Marauders.
everybody, welcome back to the
Hey.
HoloNet Marauders podcast.
That was such a long. Hey, everybody.
Hey, it's our first one back.
I've built up the
Hey.
energy with these like 3-4 weeks off or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
But-
is officially embarking in a season 2, I guess. Yeah, season 2.
Our season
Season
2.
Yeah, season 2. Apparently,
Episode
we don't know. how it
51.
works.
Episode
51.
51, definitely.
Yes.
Season 2, maybe. We'll see.
And I'm joined here. They've already spoken, but I'm joined here by my Bombad Jedi pals, Jamie and Matt. How's it going?
Hello.
Thought you
We're
forgot
good.
my name for a sec. I'm good.
No, I was like, should I say Matt and Jamie? I always say Jamie and Matt, so I'll keep that. But anyways, we're also
Absolutely.
joined here by our great friend, the creator of Star Wars Power Trip.
Mm-hmm. I talk
Ryan
about him all the
McClunky.
time.
Oh,
It's actually just Pesto. No, hi.
But there he
Pesto,
is.
move over so you can see.
Pesto's
Hello.
in the background there.
It's
How's
been
it
a
going,
while.
Ryan?
Of course, Pesto.
It has been a
It's
while.
going well. Yeah. Feeling the force, etc., etc. How are you
Yeah.
guys?
We're doing well. We're doing well.
Good.
doing well.
We're back.
This is weird. This is really weird. I didn't because like we had you and Andy on the podcast
Yeah.
a while ago, way earlier this year before
Force
we started
Friends.
doing
Yeah.
yes, Force Friends podcast.
Yes,
Force
Andy
Friends
is my
Rewatch.
co-host on Force Friends Rewatch, where we rewatch Star Wars television shows and then talk about them. Simple concept, high ideas.
A lot of fun. They're a really fun duo. But that was before we did video, and so we did this
Yes.
whole back and forth of just record the audio, and now we're just like, hey, sup?
Yeah. Now they can see what I look like. Hopefully, an improvement. If not, be honest in the comments down below. Just kidding. This is a podcast. We don't have.
But you
You
can leave
asked.
comments below.
Yeah.
But anywho,
Just send a letter.
Yeah, exactly. Old school.
Marauder Mail.
Speaking of
Marauder
old
Post.
school, we're here to talk about a film from 1977 that
Which one?
kicked this all off. A New Hope. Star Wars: A New Hope. But
that
at the time
one.
was just called Star Wars. So we're here to talk about Star
Yeah.
Wars, guys.
Star
Doing the
Wars.
We're gonna
Star
talk about
Wars.
Star Wars.
There it is.
There it is.
Without
Yeah,
the
so we've been-
subtitle.
Here and there, we've been going through all the movies. You know, when we don't have creative ideas for episodes, we've been going through the movies. We had Ryan and
Don't admit
Becca
that.
on for episode 1, right?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Did we have
I
you
think
guys
Phantom
so.
Menace, yeah.
I don't know.
We did,
But
we
yeah,
did.
Becca, my girlfriend, feels that animated Star Wars is better than live action Star Wars, and The Phantom Menace is the best of live action Star Wars. She has never been assaulted at a convention for that opinion, which is surprising. But the older I get, the more I agree with her.
Wow.
Yeah, a spicy take, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
And you know what's a good animated Star Wars? Power Trip.
Little video called Power Trip.
Let me tell you
Let me
about
tell
it.
you all about that.
It is my love letter to A New Hope. It is everything I like about A New Hope thematically. It is the underdog hero who didn't know what he wanted until it was his moment. Oh God. Oh God.
I had
That
this up
is
for other reasons, but this works.
That's supposed to be
Oh.
Gonky, not
Yeah,
not
love
our
it.
Power Trip Gonk, which
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
it's close
Gonky,
enough.
but
Yeah.
It could theoretically be Gonky. Maybe that's
Yeah,
where
it's
he
up to
ends
you.
up. We don't
That
know. Yeah, I changed my mind on what his name would be every couple months. Right
Where'd
now
you
he's
settle on
4
this one?
EB. I think he's 4 EB. I think he's going to be 4 EB for a while because the original title for Lucas's THX 1138 was THX 1138 4 EB because it needed to be like 25% more complicated because it's Lucas. But yeah.
Complicated title for a complicated movie.
Yeah, there we go. Whereas Star Wars is a simple
Just
title for a simple
Star
movie.
Wars.
Simple movie. Star
Yeah.
Wars, simple as it gets, but as,
Yeah.
as
But
good
for
as
those
it
of you who haven't gone to check out Power Trip, It's on our YouTube page.
Go check it
Ryan
out.
was generous enough to give us his project to show it on our platform. And if you guys haven't checked it out, I'm a little disappointed in you, but go
Yeah.
check it out. It'll make your day.
I feel like I haven't
hope
been
so.
putting in the work. I haven't mentioned it enough times in recent
Look,
podcasts. So
if
that's on
this is
me,
the first,
really.
if this is the first episode you're ever listening for HoloNet Marauders, we tend to bring up Power Trip a lot, and it's kind of really rare that we get the creator of Power Trip on here. So
Yeah.
We've
But
actually
anyway-
tricked you.
I
We're here to
love
talk
y'all.
about Power Trip today.
Hey, I mean,
Not
Power
New Hope.
Trip does take place during A New Hope, so
That's
It's
true.
parallel
Makes
to A New
sense.
Hope. It
Yeah.
starts with the Tantive 4 being chased by the Devastator, and it ends with the medal ceremony. And it is a little fairy tale about a gonk droid that one of my best friends, Hannah Seeger, voice actress, and I threw together. It's like Dr. Seuss with more gonk droids and less things that will age poorly in 50 years. We hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
yeah.
We don't
I
know.
think so.
We don't know what's in store.
Yeah.
I think that's a safe bet. Though.
But
Thank
But-
you. I hope so. There he is.
Bonk.
Oh man.
Oh,
I love the
forgot about
ones
that
that
song.
walk when you press the button.
dude,
Yeah,
it's so good.
it is so good.
We
Yeah.
our most recent watch through of A New Hope was a few weeks ago. With Jamie and I watched it
Complete
on
watch through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we had a great time. We had such a great time that we were like, how about these background characters on Yavin 4? Those guys are just the best. No one talks about them.
Yes.
We had never really noticed them as much as we should. And I
Right.
wanted to kick off this A New Hope talk with this because we ended up making the costumes. Well, we didn't make them. We put them together.
We put them together.
Moncal's prop shop on Etsy. Amazing job on these jumpsuits and whatnot. Jamie put together the belts,
Yeah.
but here's a picture of
Yeah.
it. Full
Man.
screen.
Look at that.
Like I needed another reason to love you people.
Yeah, like
So good.
I tossed my Minoc on the box as well. Actually, that box I posted a lot on social media. That's from Odd Viking on Instagram. He made that. He makes a ton of like custom Star Warsy like gearboxes and whatnot. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this like for like the actual thing. And I threw
it
my
was cold
Minoc
out.
on top.
So we had
Yep.
to wear some beanies. Those aren't Rebellion supplied.
Issued.
So we
Yeah.
Rebellion beanies.
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
another one of us.
Little.
I love the wands too.
Oh,
I know they came out
jeez.
well. They didn't light up yet, but they will. And
Was that y'all made those?
Ooh, I'm telling you, dude. Grow a mustache. Grow a mustache.
See, it looks good in this photo, but I
Yeah.
don't know. It depends on the lighting.
The
a
best thing
good
about
look.
the mustache, AJ literally like woke up. I woke up for work and he says to me, he always says the random is like something to me like as I like get up, and then he gets up like an hour later. He says once I get up, hey, I shaved everything last night and I just have a mustache, and I'm just like.
Yeah, my
It's
beard
dark,
was
so
getting a
I like
little
didn't see
bushy again.
anything, and then like by the time he gets up, I notice he has this like dreadful like 70s mustache, and I'm like,
Here I had the
Dreadful.
beard.
it looks fine with the
and then
beard.
mustache.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's good. I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good. I think it screams. It
Well, it works
screams.
for
I
the
feel
character.
X-wings. Yeah.
Dude, you could grow a nice bushy one. That's the thing. I'm jealous.
Oh, no mustache.
Yeah.
No mustache.
No, we'll see.
You
Anyway.
would blend in
It was
at
for a
Elstree
role.
Studios in 1976. while
Exactly.
Directing Magnum Opus. It's so good.
My favorite bit about the technicians, though, is if you look at any of them at great length, you see on all of their jumpsuits somewhere someone has like a pack of cigarettes just like in there. So you see a very prominent like cardboard box or just a square like on their sleeve, on their leg or something. And so like we made like just like little inserts to like put in the jumpsuits
That's perfect.
just to have because like
Some
it's
death
the
stick in.
70s.
You gotta,
everybody
you
had
gotta
that.
have 'em.
I love it. That stick.
But yeah, that's my
stuff.
little A New Hope story from recently, a few weeks ago, I
Recent,
think
yeah.
that was, maybe like a month ago. But yeah, we'll go around here and we'll keep talking about A New Hope. But
Yeah.
I guess we can start with Ryan. I mean, you were texting me all your ideas
Oh,
about why you
man.
love A New Hope. It is your favorite Star Wars movie, and
It's,
for all of
my
us, it's
favorite
up
movie
there.
of all time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love. I mean, the number one thing about A New Hope for me, and we could talk about the big scenes later, but why they were cut is the linear story. A New Hope presents us with one character and explores them, and then they take us to the next. So we meet C-3PO and R2-D2, and we get to know who they are and what their relationship is. And then they take us to Luke, and we see who he is and what his life is and what he wants his life to be. And through that, he takes us to Ben. And then Ben shows us this greater galaxy and this greater universe. And in order to see it, we need Han. So he takes us, I guess he takes us to Chewie for a few seconds. Love Chewie, but there's not a lot happening there with him. And then he takes us to Han. And Han, Han shows us this other side of the galaxy. That's where Luke could end up. And Ben has taken us to Han, and there's this pull. And then they all take us to the princess. And then the cast is this ensemble. and then the story begins. Like, it's not, nothing really happens until they leave Tatooine. And it's just, it's such a good, Joseph Campbell's idea of the hero with 1,000 faces that fascinated George Lucas is just so perfectly expressed through Luke Skywalker. But I feel like not enough is said about how it really is just this ladder of characters.
And yeah, you're right about that. I never even thought about that. But it is a complete hero's journey arc, which is the best thing about the movie.
Yeah.
It's totally complete from start to finish, just one arc for Luke Skywalker. And it's like so perfectly done in such a clever, like, sly manner, because, like, you know, it's a classic fairy tale story of a farm boy who gets a magic sword, is whisked off by a wizard to save a princess from a dark, you know, evil lord.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's disguised just enough where you can sit there and go, oh my God, this is like, you know, this world is so new. This story is so innovative. And it is because it's not the, you know, it's not the traditional thing. It's the traditional thing done with like a new flair, and it's so well done. And I love how you,
it's like,
you pointed out Joseph Campbell, and the first time we met, like, when was that? Like over the summer.
Yeah.
It was like
September.
you and me just like immediately just like grouped together in the kitchen, and then like 2 seconds into our conversation,
I was like in the
Joseph
shower
Campbell
for that
came
or
up.
something, as usual.
They're talking about Joseph Campbell already, and like,
But no,
Jamie took a picture of us just already. I think this is my, like, this is our body language.
oh my God.
Yeah, there's a classic moment of the long story short, Ryan and Becca came to visit over the summer in September or so, and so we're all gathered here, and so our friend Jack, who's always on the show as well, he also came over, and there's a picture of Matt, Jack, and Ryan just like doing like I don't even know what was going on.
There's a gentleman's
and
We were
conference.
talking about Joseph Campbell. That was it.
Exactly.
See, I didn't
It was a
retain that
round
information.
table.
AJ was gone. Becca and I are like, what is happening? So,
We
like,
should probably catch people up. The short of Joseph Campbell is that he was you could call him a philosopher who inspired George Lucas. He wrote a book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and it was about how everybody from King Arthur to Jesus to Bilbo Baggins, there's certain common links. Gilgamesh,
There's certain
Shakespeare to
story
some extent.
beats that each story hits. And it's kind of like, you know, this hero with 1,000 faces, but it's all one story. It's like one tale told through all these different characters, which is where the title comes from, Hero with 1,000 Faces. Every hero goes through a very similar journey. It's a journey that works, that people relate to the most. And of course, you know, George Lucas dove into that and ate it all up. And
I think A New Hope, I mean, does it the best. I mean, you guys pretty much just summarized that, but it's, you know, there's so many characters in that. They all pretty much have complete arcs. Even Han, you know, Han comes back.
Yeah,
he
Han
redeems himself.
especially.
Ben, Obi-Wan has his own arc. Luke obviously has his own arc. It's done perfectly. And I it's funny because I love the mythology talk and whatnot, but I always give Matt a hard time about it because in the newer movies, it's not as like blatant in your face, at least to me. Maybe that's just because I'm absorbing the new lore for Star Wars and whatnot, and then I think of it later.
I think that's it.
I'm with you, Ryan.
But with A New Hope,
on that, because it's very overt to me.
But I love that you guys think that way, and maybe Jamie and I think another way. I mean, that's what I feel makes our podcast.
Well, yeah, that, you know, broad ideas, broad points of view are what we want.
Yeah, I mean, on the
really quick, one of the big things in general with just like diving into like the myth, and like I love it. I love like going back and looking into it, but going into any of these movies, I never like think at the first level of, oh, this is so similar to like the Bible. Like, I'm sorry, like, I never go into like a movie and like think that unless it is like straight up point blank.
Unless we're playing Halo.
Yeah, literally. As we were just playing Halo Infinite, it gets to like a place towards the end. I'm just like, oh, that's a biblical reference. There it is, because it's so abundantly clear. But like, that's literally like word for word though. Like in Star Wars though, it is like a little like less like literal, and like I feel like that's why for me, for A New Hope, it's it always has like been like, I always say it's my favorite Star Wars movie because it's just so simple, and like you don't need to think about it that hard. It is everything. It is a war, but we're gonna go on this journey, have an adventure, and I love that it's so simple. That's like my favorite bit of it. You don't need all of this like extra like background, and you look back on it and you're just like, yeah, like here's all of this like weight behind it, and here's all this supplementary material about it, here's all this backstory about it, and then here's what we can compare it to in like popular like culture and the other things like that. But like it is so simple, and I think that that's why it did so well, is because everyone could
yeah.
like relate to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
It came at a time, like, I mean, this is a cliche that has to come up whenever anybody talks about the impact of A New Hope, but like early mid 1970s cinema is bleak. It is Logan's Run. It is
Logan's
an
Run.
examination. Yeah,
What a movie.
It's you know, Hollywood after the Vietnam War is just bleak, and like, this is what's wrong with humanity, and this is where we're headed, and that's good. That's important to examine, but Star Wars then comes along and says, like, no, this is what we could be. Pay attention to Luke Skywalker. You are Luke Skywalker. Yeah. I could go on a rant about how we all think we're Han Solo until we mature enough to want to be Luke Skywalker, because we didn't realize that we should aspire to be Princess Leia, but really we should be Chewbacca.
Yeah.
You lost me there somewhere in the middle, but okay.
I remember
spinning around in the back.
Back in our Phantom Menace episode, Ryan had something similar to that. He was like, "We're all trying to be Qui-Gon, but we're really Jar Jar or something." So like that was the 1999 version.
I mean, because we think that we're the Han's the dashing rogue. We want to be that, but Luke Skywalker's just trying to be a good person. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you want to be Princess Leia, who's like a leader and a big mover or shaker. But in the end, Chewie just cares about the people around him and wants to do the right thing. I don't know. The characters make A New Hope. The characters make any Star Wars movie. But
yeah, you're totally
A New
right.
Hope is a character piece.
Yeah.
It's funny. When I was a kid, I never wanted to be Han Solo. I don't know what it was about. I don't know what it was about Han. Even when I was a kid, I was like, cynics, man. Come on. I was always a Luke person. Always a Luke person. Yeah.
You wanted to be Jawa number 4. You wanted to be Muftak.
You're right.
Be a gonk droid.
Or the bartender.
Hey, before I saw Power Trip.
Yeah.
Even then.
Love it. Wooher the bartender. Oh, man. What a guy.
And it's crazy. We're talking about like the mythology comparisons, and then Ryan kind of touched upon it. But what this film motivated for later films, like this was a trailblazer of a movie, obviously.
Yeah.
For just science fiction, fantasy, all that. And
I mean, you can really see the influences. There is such an abundance of like Star Wars like clones and ripoffs that came out in like the late 70s, early 80s. This like boom in these like more high concept sci-fi. Like I'm not even like I'll mention like Star Trek the motion picture. Star Wars is directly responsible for the revival of Star Trek, and I love that. I think that's like the funniest thing to me.
That is cool.
That Star Trek all of a sudden decided to turn around and was like, let's try to do like a Star Wars thing. And
Star Wars showed that it was feasible.
Exactly. Like Alien, you can thank Star Wars for that. There's just so many movies out there that were only made because Star Wars did it first and did it so well.
Yes.
Exactly. And the first thing that just came to mind was Jamie and I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if you've seen it, Ryan, but Matt has the new Dune movie.
Ooh.
So one day we're going to watch it.
I haven't seen it.
But when they were having the trailers on TV, they were like, it's the new Star Wars. And it's like, hey.
And it's like, but it was
wait a minute.
Technically it
was
first.
So,
in a book.
It's the original desert planet. Yeah.
It is.
Exactly.
And we talk about all the influences that Star Wars had on everything else. But watching Dune, it's abundantly clear Dune was a heavy influence on Star Wars. And George Lucas said, himself in interviews that he put a lot of Dune-esque ideas into Star Wars, specifically because he never thought Dune would get a proper film adaptation. So this was the closest we're going to get to that. So let me just put all this stuff in this movie.
Like 50 years, something
to
like
get
that.
a proper adaptation.
Yeah,
that was the first one.
Dune is another movie that was made because of Star Wars. Dune influenced Star Wars, which then influenced the creation of Dune.
The full circle.
It was. It's a full circle.
So I got to check out that movie. I know there's probably listeners yelling at me for not watching it yet, but we'll get to it. But
we'll get there.
Let's go around. We'll talk about, the actual film itself. What are some favorite scenes or whatever, from A New Hope? We'll go back to Ryan on this one.
Oh, boy. My mom, when I was a kid, like first digesting Star Wars, I mean, she's the genesis of my Star Wars obsession. I'm not allowed to tell you how old she was when she stopped looking up at the sky for the Millennium Falcon. but it's a double-digit number. Yeah, she told me that Luke Skywalker looking at the sunset and Luke Skywalker in the chasm on the Death Star swinging across, like those two scenes, bang bang. That's Luke Skywalker. That's Star Wars. That's what the movie's trying to tell you. The fact that he goes from that to that. So I love that. But I think one of my favorite moments, I was thinking about this earlier, when Obi-Wan is convincing Luke to go with him and Luke is refusing, and it's just excuse after excuse. I don't know why, but I really love that. I think Guinness's performance is awesome, of course, because he's him.
Yo.
But and it's the Joseph Campbell refusal of the call to a T, but it's so relatable on Luke's end. Like, how many times have we been presented with an opportunity and we're just like, no, that's not me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I can't. I have to help my uncle with the with the harvest.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. It's like,
oh yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, that and I think the whole Death Star battle is masterful. Apparently there was a cut that was 40 minutes long and Luke fails to shoot the torpedo once and has to go back, and Lucas's wife was like, no. Cut it down. Masterpiece.
And
it baffles me that sorry, you go, Matt.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say it baffles me. Like, once I was with my friend and we were watching A New Hope, and I paused it like right as they're about to attack the Death Star, and I'm like, there's only like 10 minutes left. Like, I thought it's such a big influence, that scene, such a big impact. But it's like, only that short. It's
the
crazy.
thing that everybody remembers from that movie is the Death Star, and
it's like the last like 15 minutes.
And even Vader, I don't know the actual number, but Vader probably only has like,
he has like minuscule,
like 9 minutes.
It's less than 12.
Maybe?
Yeah, like it's less than 12.
Insane. Yeah.
It's the Death Star. It's such a the Death Star run is such a perfect example of, like, again, going back to influences. George Lucas took everything that he loved about all of the movies he watched when he was a kid and distilled them into this movie. And so we have like this classic fantastical tale mixed with like a World War II movie where, you have people jumping, you have your knight in shining armor with the sword jumping into a fighter jet and shooting down Nazis. It's like, okay, like it's such a perfect story. It's the greatest story ever told. It's so perfect.
Yes.
It takes all of those influences and just blends them together so that we can talk about, like, fighter combat in like a Hero with 1,000 Faces story. It's perfect.
Yeah. Matt, what's your favorite scene or scenes? You're allowed to. You can say multiple.
I would probably say my favorite. I will say this because I need time to stall while I think about my favorite scene. But
As
my
usual,
favorite
no
thing
problem.
about A New Hope, or the thing that I wish got more credit, was Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
They are so good, and I wish people, like, their death. First of all, brutal. That scarred me so much as a kid. I could never, like, my brain when I was a kid could not process the fact that they were skeletons. Like, I was like, oh, can't.
It is like one of the more graphic things in all Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's insanely graphic.
It's pretty
That
grisly.
the arm getting cut off in the bar and there's like blood all over the floor, and they had to explain that by saying that Aqualish blood doesn't cauterize, which is
I
like
love
my
that.
favorite retcon like bit of lore in Star Wars. I love that. But Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, I say aunt because I live here.
And I noticed that rewatching it today, like Luke's like, "Oh, Aunt Beru said this," and I'm like,
Aunt Beru.
Aunt.
I
Well,
say
I'm watching.
aunt.
I'm like going through all the Spider-Man movies, and they keep calling her Aunt May, and I'm like, stop it, dude. But it's like it's like a classic. Like the aunt and uncle are raising the kid, and they're so great. Like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, they take this random kid in from like this random guy they met once, and like raise him to be like a good kid, like a good person who like wants to do good things. And even though they're hard on him, and even though they don't want him to leave because, you could say it's protectiveness, or you could say it's, fear of what he could become if they let him out. They deserve more credit. They're kind of brushed aside after they're killed. And it's like, we got to talk about these two because they're really never mentioned again. Ever.
Have you read the short story in the first From a Certain Point of View book written by Meg Cabot of the Princess Diaries? It's just 4 pages. I think it's Beru's internal monologue after she dies, and now that she's part of the Force, she sees everything that Luke will go on to do, and it ends with her saying, like, "Do you think he learned this compassion and forgiveness from Owen? Like, I had all these big dreams and I couldn't live them out, but look what I did."
That's awesome. I
love that. I love her character.
Is so good. Both of them.
Yeah.
I hope you really.
Yeah, both of them.
I think we're going to, with the Kenobi series coming, that we'll get a lot of Owen and Beru time like that.
And I hope they finally get the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite.
They raised
scene,
Luke Skywalker.
Exactly. How you raise the most legendary hero in the galaxy, and not get any credit for that. Come on.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene, I know it's cliche, and as weird as it sounds, even when I was a kid, my favorite scene was always Ben training Luke. That's it. Putting the blast shield down, telling him to reach out, blocking the blaster bolts. Han coming in and saying it was stupid. I've traveled the galaxy. I don't believe in the Force. It's dumb. And then, Ben sitting down and going, "Ooh." I sensed all these people dying. That was for me when I was a kid. It was like, that was it. That's the only thing I think I could think of when I was a kid from that movie.
That's the first time, they really go into the Force and whatnot. And I mean, the Force is arguably the most interesting thing in Star Wars. So, yeah, I mean that makes sense.
And it's like the only lightsaber action we get for Luke, which is like really funny to think about. Yeah. You equate Luke Skywalker with the lightsaber so much, and even back then, before like Empire Strikes Back, kids were like playing Luke Skywalker swinging lightsabers, and it's like he never does that. He never fights anybody with a lightsaber in A New Hope, guys.
Yeah. 3
but he
years
doesn't
later.
need to.
Yeah. Jamie, what about you?
So I'm gonna two bits here. So I'm gonna just casually say my favorite scene in A New Hope is the Cantina, but we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Good.
I think I see a Cantina goer in your background.
Yeah, you guys see my friend back there?
He's hanging out.
There he is, my friend. So
try to give us some names in the comments and whatnot of what we can name the guy.
So he's affectionately just known as the guy. He doesn't have a name yet. He just looks like one of the classic counter-action figures of the Ithorians, and so he's just there. He's chilling.
There he is.
But yeah, I would say that the Cantina is my favorite scene in A New Hope because it's just like you never seen something like that before. You walk into a bar, and there's all these like unsavory creatures, and they're all just like shifty-eyed looking around and whatnot. It's just so funny. And then we get like Luke like dinking up to like the bar, and he like pulls like the bartenders like it's like, what are you doing?
What is this?
What are you doing,
I had that confidence.
Like, it's not even confidence. Is he has no idea what he's doing. He's never gone into a bar before, so he's just like,
because of his good upbringing of Owen and Beru.
That's true.
I mean, they might not teach
bringing
him.
It back.
They didn't teach him his manners of tugging shirts, but he had never been to a place like that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. No, yeah. He's very, very good, pure of heart, dumb of But additionally, aside from the Cantina, though, I think that one of my all-time favorite like moments in A New Hope is right before that when there's the shot of the Overlook of Mos Eisley, and Obi-Wan just does the whole Mos Eisley spaceport and whatever. And when I first started like watching the Star Wars movies like obsessively when we were in like college, for some reason. We looked up on YouTube just searching for the video that's Obi-Wan saying Mos Eisley spaceport, and so we found, I don't know why we had to do this, but you just gotta find random clips all the time, right? So we look it up. The first hit on YouTube, it's like a 15-second long video, and we're like, yeah, this must be the one. This is the line. We open it up, and we didn't realize that it was someone had dubbed the line with like an impression for Obi-Wan. So I'm not gonna say the full thing. I'm gonna say a bit of it though. It's Obi-Wan saying Mos Eisley spaceport. It's a criffing bantha hole.
Yeah.
Griffin bantha hole.
Poodle hole.
Yeah.
Poodle
It was horrible delivery, but I don't know our threshold for swears here. But long story short, if you look up Mos Eisley spaceport on YouTube and find a video that is about 15 to 20 seconds long, most likely you're going to find that one getting dubbed. And oh my God, I could not have laughed harder. And it's so silly, but because of this one little parody video, it was like a big piece of me like loving Star Wars. It's so stupid.
I think we went to look up.
Stupid.
We went to look up that video because we wanted to remember like the exact line.
Yeah, the whole Gretchen Hive line.
Yeah, we didn't remember it exactly, so we didn't know it was gonna go where it went. So it was just perfect.
It's perfect.
There was
God.
There was one. My girlfriend and I like to drive long road trips, and there was one where we were driving through Death Valley, and we decided we were going to stop at all the Star Wars locations. So Dante's View, where they shot the Overlook, is like 13 miles off the road. You're on these dirt roads. You go up this crazy cliff. You lose cell phone service about halfway up. And we knew there was like a specific direction you have to look, and we couldn't find it. We couldn't look it up. So we get up there to the top of this bluff in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, we'll say we were here, right? As we're walking back to the car, we notice about 25 middle-aged people, not many of them together, just all there by chance, half of them sobbing, looking in the same direction. We found it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it does look like it looks exactly like that still. There's a highway cutting across it, but you just pretend that's not there, or you squint, and it's the same.
I mean, just to see something like that you've seen on a screen so many times, and then we see it in Mandalorian. They kind of, I think it was the same shot they reused, maybe, but to see that in person, you just probably couldn't help but tear up a bit. So.
It's like
we lost it too. Yeah,
I mean that's my favorite thing about Star Wars. It's a pilgrimage. You get to go to these places that they filmed, and they feel like holy sites. It's the craziest thing.
Yes, we lost it. I walked the road to Jabba's palace in my Luke Skywalker cloak and cried the whole way. A tourist from China pulled over and wanted a picture with me, and I was just like, yes, it's fine. Pull the hood over my eyes.
One of my favorite pictures of you and Becca is trying to be 3PO and R2. Was it?
Yes.
Were you R2 or was Becca R2?
I was 3PO, and I was in the pose, and she got down and hunched
crouched,
down and put her fists on the ground like R2. Yeah, that was on the road to Jabba's palace too.
That's perfect.
That's a couple miles from there.
To go back to Jamie's point about the Cantina, though, I mean, who doesn't love the Cantina and the music and
play
I think
that same song.
Iconic.
Favorite Cantina aliens, please.
Well, I've mentioned mine, Muftak. I have a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Of Muftak. And like
Muftak.
having a straw for a mouth. I mean, it's very,
it's
very convenient. So
exactly.
Oh yeah, for a bar.
I love the Ithorian in there, obviously. My dude. Although, like, looking at it now, he kind of looks like Doc Ondar at first glance because he has, like, a really big, like, robe, and it's just like, ooh, this guy looks mysterious.
And then there's Spaceman walking around.
Yeah,
I
actual
love
Spaceman.
Spaceman's cool.
Spaceman.
I like him.
Okay. I should know this. I'm a little ashamed that I'm not thinking it off the top of my head. Bat species. The bat.
The Chadra-fan.
Kabi.
Yeah.
Kabi. She's Muftak's partner in crime. They live in the sewer together. The one who reaches for a drink.
Yep. That's my favorite because I just love seeing like the little bat person just reaching up and grabbing like a drink.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, every
super
time.
Cute.
The sewers of Tatooine. Imagine that though. Hang on.
It must be.
Sewers of Mos Eisley.
Oh, they're
foul
probably
doesn't
the
even
more
begin to
wretched
explain
hive.
that one.
Yeah.
That is the wretched hive. Okay.
My God.
Where do they even get all that water? Is that what they're farming?
That's what's happening at the Lars homestead.
Yeah, it comes from the Lars homestead.
They take care of Mos Eisley.
How
sewage
profitable,
department.
how lucrative of a business is moisture farming? That's a big question I have. Because they're on the outside. Matt and
I that much.
Matt and I had to do a lot of research for our
people
Minecraft
who had
project.
to build Lars homestead in Minecraft. It's a lot.
It's big inside. On the outside, they want you to think they're a poor family, but the house it's pretty big. They've got like 3 cars.
But what's
they got
the
3
land
speeders.
value?
True.
Oh,
True.
that's my other favorite scene.
Which one? The oil bath?
My other favorite scene. Yes, 3P. No, not 3PO in the oil bath, but like afterwards, R2 like runs away, and Luke runs down to like see like what's going on, and 3PO's hiding by like the Mercedes in like the back corner.
Yes.
And then he's just like, "Oh, hello."
Oh my God.
Like I love that.
My theory is that he was gonna hotwire that speeder and go find R2, but
or at least just get out of there.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
I think he was just panicking.
My favorite thing is in episode 9 when they find Ochi's like speeder and it has like the Sith emblem on it, and it's like the same kind of like hood ornament.
Yeah,
that's on. That's so funny. Or like a random thing.
But I wanted to get to with the Cantina. I was gonna say like the beginning of that movie. We see the Empire on the Star Destroyer. We see the moisture farm, which, as Ryan said, there's nothing really going on there. And we see Kenobi's house. But then like it's the first sense of community and like a bigger galaxy because this is a spaceport and we see ships coming in and out. It's like, oh, like we're about to go on an adventure. It feels like we're going to the airport, guys. I don't know. And there's a lot going on. The bar at the airport.
Go to the airport bar, yeah.
The airport bar.
That's really kind of the first step. To quote
into a larger world.
Into a larger world. To quote Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
And then I guess, yeah, that was. We were all joking around. I was trying to get to this deep point. Me getting to a deep
Sorry.
point. It's pretty rare.
Sorry. Let's hear it. Let's hear
No,
it.
but it
Yeah.
was perfect. Oh, that was the deep point.
That was the deep
Sorry,
point.
I hit
That was
my
good.
mic.
That was a good,
That was a
Pretty
good
First
deep
step
point.
into a larger
good deep
world.
point
It was as
Yeah,
deep as the
it
sewers.
really is.
of Tatooine.
That's Joseph Campbell's threshold. Once crossed, you can't go back.
Crossing
Once
the
Luke leaves Tatooine, when he goes back, it's not the same for him.
Exactly. But that brings me to, I guess, my favorite scene in A New Hope. And thankfully, I get to go last because I've tried to been stalling this whole time like Matt to think of something. But Ryan mentioned the sunset. And a lot of the times I'll put A New Hope on in the background. You know, sometimes I'll watch it all the way through just because why you have to. You got to watch. It's like you got to watch it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll have it on the background. I'm doing work. And every time when the sunset scene happens, the music swells up, which we haven't even gotten to the music. This is where it all began.
Oh.
The John Williams score swells up, and you have to look at the screen, and then you have to watch it. And I remember Jamie and Matt, we were all watching it together before Rise of Skywalker, leading up to it, I think. And you know, we talked during the movie a lot because it's a movie we've seen 100 times. But when that scene happened, we all got so quiet, and you just have to watch the screen for that.
Yep.
And it's just beautiful. There's no dialogue, obviously, and it kind of paints the whole picture for Luke right there. But
Yeah.
John
It's
Williams
the most
and London
relatable scene in the
Orchestra.
movie.
yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was wondering who was going to say that.
That
I can't
okay.
help
That
myself.
additionally, so
Oh,
like
God.
the friends of the podcast know that like my Star Wars story started for me like in college. Really, like I like knew it as a kid, but like really got into it in college times. And so another thing I was really into in college was watching Family Guy, and so like watching all of the Star Wars specials for Family Guy was also something that just like. You can't get it out of your head ever. And the Blue Harvest episode is like
Yep.
the best one out of
Oh, yeah.
all of them.
Blue
And
Harvest is dangerous.
it doesn't make A New Hope better, but like it helps when you have all these like funny parodies about it, and then you can like you just think about that no matter what.
So you can have,
think
like,
about like you think about like the asteroid field and the whole like narration of he takes a right into a residential zone, zooming through, and then of course Han Solo as like the nighttime DJ. This is Han Solo, like
Yes.
so good. Like
I mean, I
just
can
have
almost
those
quote that
moments.
better than the
Yeah.
actual.
yeah, me
yeah.
too.
That's-
And then
that's the
sometimes you
dangerous
misquote
part.
it, and it's like, wait, that's not the actual thing.
Why do they call it?
And
gold?
that the Family Guy parodies only work so well, and I think the reason A New Hope is the best, like arguably a lot of the funniest jokes are in Empire, but A New Hope is so in our cultural consciousness. Like it's
Yeah.
funny because it subverts what we remember from the movie we've all memorized.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the jokes that, you know, Seth MacFarlane and all the writers came up with that for Family Guy, it's like probably a lot of things we were subconsciously thinking as well.
Yes.
So I don't know. Like the
Definitely.
They're all
shut
big
up,
Star
oh, with
Wars
the shut
nerds.
up, all the little houses, Italian families.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're all big Star Wars nerds anyway, like at their core. So
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, this was bound to happen, and it's just I love it. In Star Wars, A New Hope especially, like really just opened the door for hey, here's what we can do, like parodying like modern pop culture. And like if you're gonna like parody anything, you got to start with A New Hope, which is like really silly
Yep.
to think of now.
Oh yeah. Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Yep.
So the Binary Sunset.
Yeah, I mean,
We said we were going to talk about the movie, and we talked about our favorite scenes, but we still haven't gotten to just talking about the movie.
We've been
Let's
talking
do it.
about the movie. What do you
Let's
want
do
to
it.
do? Scene by scene, frame by frame?
I
And
almost
this little
want
thing,
to.
this is
Yes,
where you see the
because,
stormtrooper
again,
bonk his head on the window.
As we, ooh,
Yes. Yes.
The door?
Yes.
I could talk
There's
about
another
that for an
good
hour.
short
Don't
story
even
about
start
that. Oh man.
Don't even start with that. That's one of
I
my
love
favorite
that.
editions. That's probably one of the biggest reasons for me to watch any special edition Star Wars anything is to just get the little bonk noise.
Oh, yeah. That's
'Cause it's
another
so
thing,
good.
Matt. You only watch the original cut, really.
I try to. If I'm lazy, I'll watch.
But you don't get McClunky with that.
I don't get McClunky.
McClunky's big.
If
McClunky's
I'm
funny.
lazy.
McClunky's
For context, everyone, Matt goes out of his way to find the special
Pointing.
edition version of all the Star Wars, the originals, and the prequels, right? I'm assuming.
I have the DVD
Puppet Yoda.
for
Yeah.
uh, episode 1, so I only
He
watched
tries
the
to
Puppet
get
Yoda version.
as close to the release versions, because the ones on Disney Plus currently are like they make changes and whatnot. They're always constantly like just tossing in random stuff like the McClunky and whatnot.
It started
So
when we were in high school when I was in college. The Force Awakens was coming out, and we wanted to watch all the originals again. So I went online and I just found some like random, A New Hope. Oh, let me download that and that and that, just to get them on my computer. And I accidentally found like the 2007 Laserdisc re-release like DVD special editions that they came out with that were literally like the closest thing to the theatrical version. We sat down, we watched them, and we're going, I don't remember this. What is going on? Like, because it was so different. Because there's
a wolf in the bar.
Yeah, I mean, I had these. My parents made it a point to show me these versions because we have all three of the box set. Made sure to show me those versions first when they were exposing me to the original trilogy. But after that, it was as soon as we got them on DVD, it was like, just watch the DVD, which was the special edition. So going back to those originals that I had watched as a kid, and it's funny because like so many of the like, I don't want to say older fans, but a lot of the OG fans who watch the originals in theaters always talk about watching the originals as kids and loving to go back to those versions. And it's the same for me, even though those were like my VHSs.
Yeah.
This is so funny because no other franchise really does this.
No,
not really. No.
Goes back and
just completely like puts like dance numbers in.
AJ, do you remember when we were doing a rewatch, and I don't remember which version it was, but it was our friend Brendan's version of they were Blu-ray at that point.
Yeah.
And so this is from A New
big.
Hope.
Yeah.
And so it's from A New Hope when we first see Obi-Wan when he like saves Luke and whatnot, and he does like the big like yell, which is supposed to be the crate dragon. And
they change that every time.
They change that every single release.
When we're watching it, and AJ, you can continue.
We were watching it. I don't know. Same deal as Matt. Force Awakens got announced for rewatching it in college, and the Blu-ray version is our friend Brendan had it, and we were showing Star Wars to someone for the first time in the room.
Yep,
and
not me. It was someone else.
Yep, someone else. Jamie had seen them, but yeah.
Yes.
Obviously. So the Obi-Wan scene happens with the crate dragon call, and
it was the ooh.
Yeah, it was the crazy one, the newest one. It happens, and then Brendan just goes, "Holy crap! What was that?" And then
we had to stop the movie.
We had to stop the movie, and like our friend in the room had no idea what was going on.
They were like, "What was wrong with that?" And we're like, "What? A lot was wrong with that."
Yeah.
I love that. That's almost like a tradition. Obi-Wan's crate dragon call changes like in almost every version. It's the funniest thing.
What's your favorite version?
Probably the one in The Mandalorian. Oh.
No, that one.
That one's the funniest. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was good, Matt. That was good.
Thank you.
But Matt,
that was good.
We got sidetracked. We ended up
I'm sorry.
Somewhere out there. I don't know. Somewhere in the past the Rishi maze. But bring us back if you want to talk about the movie. Let's talk about the movie.
Okay, so right now
apparently
in
we
my
weren't
head,
talking about it.
right now in my head, where we've just cut to the scene with Darth Vader, on the round table where they just dissolved the Imperial Senate. There's the empty Krennic seat.
Yes.
And I love when he chokes out Tag, and he's like, just talking like, "Oh, your old sorcerer's ways don't work on me, Vader. Your devotion to that ancient religion." Like, again, that's probably also one of my favorite scenes that I always think about. Whenever the Force is talked about or mentioned, I guess that should tell you a lot about what I love about Star Wars the most. Because those are the things that stood out to me when I was a kid. And it's kind of funny because I'm like realizing that now. That's whenever the Force is talked about is the scenes that I remember the most when I was watching them.
What makes it Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you seen the extended version of that scene that they just debuted at, I think it was one of Pablo Hidalgo's panels at Celebration Chicago, where it opens with Admiral Mahdi talking about how, like, it's the first time Sith Lord was ever said on camera, and they cut it. He talks about, like, why do we have faith in this Sith Lord? What is that?
I actually did research on that recently.
I'll have to look that up.
Check it out. Yeah.
I tried to look up the first time they ever say Sith, or whether it was in a novel or a film, and I don't remember what it actually is. Like,
it's in the novel. It's in the novelization of A New Hope that came out 6 months before the movie.
Which again is so funny because there are so many things that have entered Star Wars pop culture that weren't even said in the movies. like
Yeah.
The word Ewok is never spoken on screen.
there's no Ewoks, and Ewok is just a complete thing that was created like in marketing and on the action figures, but everybody knows them. And it's the same kind of thing with Sith. Everybody just knew Sith back in the day, even though it was never said in the original trilogy.
No.
AJ's just over there like,
Palpatine was never. It was just the Emperor.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
It is.
But again, Palpatine entered into pop culture. You knew Palpatine, so that when Episode 1 rolled around and there's this Senator Palpatine, everybody's like, I know that guy. Even though
Organa, Revenge of the Sith is the first time they say Organa, but everybody knew that was her last name.
Yeah, that's what was I going to say?
Yeah.
I'm also just realizing this now, thinking about it, is the first time we ever see anything Force related on screen when Darth Vader chokes Tag.
Yeah. With the little.
Yeah.
That's the first instance. That's the first usage of the Force we see on screen. Is the dark side.
Does the mind trick happen first, or is that happen first?
No, mind trick happens first.
Yeah, the mind trick is first.
Yeah.
Yes, because we're cutting between them trying to get to Alderaan and the Death Star going to Alderaan. So we're like cutting between.
Yeah.
Hey, for all you know, the Krayt Dragon call could be a Force power. It was a heck
I'm going to say that probably
call.
was actually.
It probably was.
So that's the first
finding Luke
of the
was
Force.
probably the Force.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Finding him and then amplifying his voice just to
The first usage of a Force
that
power
around.
on screen is that sounded more like R2.
That did. I love the additional adding all the rocks in front of R2 when he's hiding.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
look so bad.
How did he get in there?
How did he get in
How did-
there? How does he get
how
out?
How did he get in there?
He's stuck.
I
I'm
love
sorry,
it.
R2.
I don't understand that one.
It's funny just having this conversation because Matt, you keep talking about how your favorite bit was the Force and whatnot, and obviously I love the Jedi and whatnot, but in the originals it's just Luke, and it's not we really have anything else to go off of, Luke and Obi-Wan and then Yoda, Force Ghost and Yoda. But honestly, I love all just the random background stuff in the originals, and for A New Hope, it is them wandering around Mos Eisley. It is the scanning
love all the
crew
background
entering
stuff?
the Millennium Falcon.
I love that photo.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have no idea what's going on. The best thing about that photo
It's
is
you being surprised at how much you love the background stuff. That's what that face
Yep,
AJ,
exactly.
AJ, go back to the One of Us.
Yeah.
I love this one because I had to bring Buttons the Porg with me. She couldn't not come.
Oh, yeah. No.
So I don't know. She doesn't belong there, but she's there.
Well,
just
you
so
and she
know.
are making the same face.
Yeah,
You are.
That's your Buttons face.
we're both shocked. Anyway, I love the background stuff. The background stuff is always the best part of Star Wars, especially finding out they didn't have a ton of money to make the first Star Wars movie, obviously. So everything is held together by tape and
Yeah.
it's just
And, bubble
is this
gum.
gonna work?
It's
Tape, bubblegum, and cigarettes.
Oh yeah, there's
Made a
visible
movie.
gaff tape on the arm of the stormtrooper who's holding Leia in the first scene when she says, "Darth Vader, only you could be so bold." That's my favorite thing to come out of the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
Finding
seeing
the
just
gaff
all the
tape on
stuff
the
falling
troopers.
apart. It's so funny just to watch everything just falling apart, and it's just
That is,
but they did it, and we still go back and
did it.
love to watch it, and it's great.
yeah.
And
I
it's
think that-
also, I was just gonna say, it's also one of the few things, I guess at the time and maybe still today, it's just everything in the background, to go off the background, has a story. Everything in the background has some sort of story or name or something. And it's really cool.
The decision, George Lucas called it the used universe. The decision to have everything in the production design just feel a little bit weathered and a little beat down, and just everybody in the background having some kind of business just set it apart from sci-fi at the time.
And the thing, because the only other sci-fi thing to really do that again is Dune. But with Dune, he created this entire world, and he wanted you to see his hard work. So he put this 17-page glossary at the beginning of the book for you to reference and read everything about the universe. But Star Wars doesn't do that. They let you go out and do that. If you want to know about this random bat lady reaching for a drink in the cantina, you're going to find the information on it, either through some random encyclopedia that somebody wrote, or just on the figure for them, and then you make your own story, and you just use your imagination.
Yeah,
And I love that. And again, plays into the charm because so many of those masks in the Cantina are just so cheap and terrible, but they're great because it's like
I feel like we haven't talked about the droids enough.
Ooh.
Like the droids, Ryan brought up that, it's the first thing we really see.
Yeah,
these
they're
two
the stewards
droids.
of this adventure.
Yeah. And I was watching it earlier, and I was getting my setup ready with my new First Order flag back here. But when 3PO is captured, and then R2's captured, right, by the Jawas, and then 3PO
Yeah,
eventually.
hiding behind the rock.
3PO captures himself.
There's a whole sequence where there's just like no dialogue, just beeping dialogue by the droids, and music, and
Dialogue
the sandcrawler going.
Dialogue by the Jawas.
Yep.
And the sandcrawler.
Yeah, but no English.
No human.
No human dialogue, and it's like, it's one of the only things that does that, and it's the only Star Wars movie that does that.
But it's a masterclass.
For that long, yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's for
storytelling.
a good
Well,
few
the holiday
minutes.
special.
Wow.
Right.
Movies,
That's for different
sir.
The holiday special is a masterpiece. It
Oh my
defies
God.
classification.
Hey,
You're right.
It's a fun time. It's a good time.
The Wookiee language.
We can't talk about the Sandcrawler without. Give me a minute for R5D4, please.
Yes.
He's a hero in this
Yes.
house.
Mhm.
There are 3 versions of his story. There's a non-canon one that he was an undercover Jedi. There's a Legends one that R2 sabotaged him, which I think that's out of character. I don't think R2 would hurt someone that badly for the rebellion.
No.
But the best one, I'm going to keep talking about the From a Certain Point of View book. For those who don't know, it's a charity short story collection. Most of them are considered canon. It benefited First Book, and it's 40 stories about A New Hope from 43 different authors. 3 of them were collaborations. And it tells the story of the movie from background character to background character, from Captain Antilles to a fleet trooper at the medal ceremony. Ray Carson's R5D4 story is a freaking masterpiece. And it talks about that night in the Sandcrawler when R2 went to him and was like, yo, like, you're pretty state of the art. They're going to buy you. We can't let that happen. Here's who I am. Here's what I'm doing. I can't get too specific, but I need you to blow it when it's your moment. And he's like, all right, I will. And R5 becomes obsessed with this idea that he could be a hero of the rebellion in his own way. And I'm just happy that I wrote Power Trip before that came out, because
It's brilliant. Yeah.
No, I mean,
it's so good.
the underdog droid is brilliant. And
he's still around.
he doesn't get the
Yeah,
treatment
well,
he deserves, though.
we were mad when he showed up in The Mandalorian, because that story ends with him going off into the desert, and he's like, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to find these rebels, and I'm going to find that blue guy, and I'm going to thank him.
That blue
And
guy.
he doesn't. And then
Maybe
that's
maybe
my
he
word.
He'll get there
does.
eventually. He'll get there
He
eventually.
might.
R2's still out
He
there.
better.
He still
better.
could.
Was out there.
He's
I
He
just
better
don't
get
like
to the
how-
resistance.
Pelimoto just does not treat him well. Just not treat
No.
him well.
He
He
deserves
was
better.
doing his best.
She doesn't
I like
really
her,
treat
but
any
he
of her
deserves
droids
better.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does deserve better.
She's a little mean. She's a little mean.
But I'm glad you
I
brought up
love
that
her.
story, and I hope some people
I
learned some
love
stuff
R5.
today. But
I love R5.
it's a great story.
Skippy the Jedi droid.
Skippy the Jedi droid. That was his name. Yes.
Oh,
That's R5D4
Skippy.
in the non-canon
Skippy.
Legends story.
That was Star Wars Tales. Yeah.
wow. Well, we left off on the Death Star with Matt,
so sorry.
talking about the Force.
And I
We
just
can-
wanted to, again, talk about, I already kind of briefly touched upon it, but that's just such a genius story structure. It's like, oh, we have to get to Alderaan. And then we cut to the Death Star. We're going to go blow up Alderaan.
Yes. I
Oh, we have
never
to get to
thought about
Alderaan. Time to destroy Alderaan. Destroys Alderaan. You know, we got to get to Alderaan. It's the most basic, classic, what's the word that I'm trying to think of? For like, Alfred Hitchcock described it as 2 people having a conversation about baseball while there's a bomb under the table. And it's got a name, dramatic irony. That's it, dramatic irony, where the audience knows stuff that the characters don't,
Right.
and that increases your engagement in the story because you know exactly what the characters are about to get into before they do. And it's like, as soon as they bounce out of hyperspace and they're in the middle of this asteroid field and they're all confused, and you're going, wow, it's clearly because Alderaan was destroyed. And they're like, where's Alderaan? That
Somewhere
again,
your high school and college film teachers are very proud of you for bringing
Very
up dramatic
proud.
irony.
yeah,
Quite proud.
Definitely.
sorry, yeah.
We're quite
No,
proud
don't
as well.
apologize. Yeah, I never thought about the dramatic irony of that. Yeah. That's a good
Yeah,
edit.
you're
A
not
New
wrong.
Hope.
You're
A New
good.
Hope is saved in the edit.
Well, yeah. It definitely.
Marsha
and-
Lucas. Speaking of not getting enough credit.
for sure.
Yeah.
And if you watch
She's
those
the R5D4.
deleted scene, they're interesting. I like the deleted
Yeah.
scenes. with Biggs, with
Station,
the other
yeah.
two. What are their names? What are Luke's friends' names?
Wendy and Deke, and then Fixer and
Doesn't
Cammy.
In
There they are.
is which one? Okay, he marries one of them in the
Cammy.
TLJ novelization. in
Yeah, that
his
was so
dream.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
I do. I love
In
that
an
too.
alternate universe where he didn't go.
Yeah,
I love that whole
and
opening.
and that is an awesome opening because it's the classic like hero's journey. They usually have some kind of like vision or temptation where, ooh, what if I don't go through with this? Where will I be? And Luke never really got that. He might have gotten that more in like Uncle Owen. You look at Uncle Owen. He's dressed similar to he's dressed like a Jedi. We don't talk about that though.
That's all that they wear in Star Wars. That's it. There's a bunch of people wandering around in the background of Mos Eisley that are wearing like the same kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then there's like Spaceman, and then CGI Rontos and whatnot.
My theory is that post Order 66, there was a lot of Jedi robes laying around, and people were like, "These are cool. I'll wear these."
There you go.
I love it.
That's why.
I just always figured the Jedi dress humble.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
But
that's probably.
I like yours
that's probably
better.
it.
I like yours
Brown
better.
and yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Sure. All right.
They were selling
But I like-
the wholesale. Gotta get these off the rack. They're hot item.
But like, the deleted scene with Biggs is interesting because we see him later on Yavin, and it's like, oh hey
Yeah.
Biggs, like
In the
old buddy,
special
old pal.
editions, I always forget that that's a special edition.
Yeah, good call,
Addition.
good call. I
Yeah.
do too, honestly. But we
he's
don't.
cut out of it completely in the original,
Yeah.
which is sad.
He's in the X-wing, but not.
Yeah.
you don't
We
get any
see
significance.
him. He just calls him Biggs, but we don't know their deal.
We don't know their friendship. Yeah.
And it's crazy because Biggs talks specifically about we got to join the rebellion, Luke. I'm gonna go join
Yeah.
the rebellion, and then Luke's like, I want to join the academy, and it's like, oh, what academy? Luke, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I like that the big scene. I like the big scene on its own, and I love that apparently Tashi Station and Cammy and Fixer show up in the Book of Boba Fett teaser.
Yeah,
Apparently.
we're seeing that.
Apparently,
We're
yeah.
seeing that.
But
How funny is that?
But
in
I
Jedi robes.
I love that.
Oh, it's just their same outfits 5 years later,
But
or 7, 8, whatever, 10.
Don't make me do math.
It's something.
But
Anyway,
I do like that they cut that scene because it goes back to the character handoff structure where that would be the droids take us to, the droids take us nowhere because now we cut away to this kid and he goes to get bullied by his so-called friends. But now we are back to the droids. Get out of here, Wormy. And it doesn't flow for me.
the
No, I
biggest
do
like that
loss,
his nickname was Wormy.
the biggest loss from those scenes is Luke's bucket hat.
True.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
the biggest loss.
Yep.
That's a good look.
Him sitting there in
It's a
his
great
bucket
look.
hat, looking up at the
Yeah,
looking
looking at the battle.
binoculars, just like
Yeah.
Looking at the
going on up
battle, yeah.
there?
And then like
If he
the
wouldn't
other
have worn
droids
that
just
hat,
with them
they
like
would-
meh, meh,
Yeah.
He's
Tread
stuck in the
well,
sand.
my man.
meh, meh.
If he
And then he,
wouldn't have
like,
worn that
leaves them
stupid
there.
hat, they wouldn't have bullied him. Yeah, he just leaves them to die.
Yeah, Luke literally
Luke's not
leaves
a
this poor
great
droid
person.
behind.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I never brought
Oh.
up the runner up for my favorite scene would probably be the trench run, because that's
yeah.
like how many times
course.
at least for me, like when I was a little kid riding my bike around, I'd be like pretending I was on the trench run or in a Jedi Starfighter.
God,
'Cause that's when
same.
the
Oh, yeah.
prequels came out. But
Oh,
And
yeah.
having and Han coming back, that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Without
Oh, such a
Han
moment.
coming back to save Luke, there is something lost in
Yeah.
this movie,
Yeah.
in that scene. Obviously, for obvious reasons. But the fact that, Han's turn of character directly saves Luke's life. And then we see that blossom in Empire Strikes Back. Like we see how protective of Luke Han becomes and how close they become after that.
yeah,
It's such a good that's probably also one of my favorite instances in the movie.
Yeah.
Specifically when Han comes back. That's
Yeah, I mean, we
that's the
haven't-
cathartic payoff for that scene.
Yeah.
Almost just as much as Luke shooting the missile into the
I would say more.
exhaust port. Yeah.
oh yeah. It's still not silly, but it's crazy that we haven't even really talked about Han that much. I know Matt mentioned earlier that
Very
definitely
quickly
a
mentioned in the
huge-
beginning.
yeah, but Han's arguably one of my favorite characters. I mean, he is one of my
I
favorite
love Han.
characters. He's arguably number one, but rewatching A New Hope recently, I'm like, I don't know. He's a jerk, and I've never really been a jerk at first, but now we have his
Okay.
background of Solo.
Favorite Han moment in A New Hope then. Quick.
Okay, let's do it.
What do you got?
When he's about to shoot Greedo and he's picking at the wall behind him.
I love
Yes.
picking the wall.
I don't have the money
when he
now
leans on
with
Chewie.
me.
Oh,
Was he, unless someone else was gonna take that.
I was gonna pick that, but I'll
I
think
like
of someone
that.
else.
When he comes back and Enfys Nest was right all along.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
I bet he
have
thought
one
of
Where'd
her
you dig up
in
that
that
old
moment.
fossil?
If only. Oh, that is a good one.
And on
Where'd
it,
you dig up
one of
that
the
old fossil?
one of the
Oh,
best
oh.
exchanges in the whole. I'll just say quick. One of the best exchanges in the whole film is they're hiding under the grates in the Falcon, and he's like, "You damn fool" or whatever to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's
Yeah.
like, "Who's the
More
bigger fool?
foolish. Who's the
The
bigger
fool."
fool?
The
The
fool
fool.
or the
The
fool?
And
fool.
like, what a
follows
sentence! What a sentence! He's calling
Yeah.
himself a fool, but being a genius at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Jedi
that's so
humility.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
But what were you gonna say, Jamie?
Oh, favorite Han moment. When well, it's kind of Chewie and Han, but Chewie and Han together first of all. But Chewie complaining that the garbage chute smells, and Han's just like, I don't care, get down there.
Oh, it
Takes him in
smells.
there.
Shoves him down there.
Get down there.
No, Han's just
Han's
the
Han.
best.
Han's Han about it.
Han's Han.
I always read that Han and Chewie exchange as Chewie knows that Dianoga is down there. He knows that this is not an escape.
Oh yeah, he smells the Dianoga.
Can he smell it?
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Oh
That'd be
yeah, because
cool.
he's a dog.
Yeah,
He's a dog. He can smell danger. And Han is
That's
just
true.
and he's trying. I always imagine he was saying like, I smell, and Han thinks he's gonna say trash. Yeah, it's Han's
like,
arrogance
"Hey."
once again getting the better of them.
Yeah, because
That's
Han straight
funny.
up says, I don't care what you smell. So isn't he? Chewie straight up may have said, hey, I smell a Dianoga.
And I love how scared Chewie gets down there, shaking his
know.
head.
Oh,
he's such a baby. But
He is. That's why I love him.
He's the best,
Oh my
yeah.
god, he's so good.
Oh,
The Dianoga being the dragon in this case. That they
favorite
have
Han
this
moment. Everything's fine.
battle.
How are you?
Fine.
Oh yeah, everything's fine.
How are you?
I
That's-
love that.
It's so funny because to me that translates to like a modern joke. For me, that's always been like that's like a modern joke. Like
Yeah,
somebody,
it's great.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
so
like
mundane.
the dog sitting with the fire. Everything's fine. But,
Yeah.
you know,
This is
Everything's
fine.
this is fine.
We're fine.
At this point in the show, I want the viewers to pause it if they think the Poe Dameron General Hugs prank call was stupid. Pause this, bring up A New Hope, watch Han say, "We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?" over and over until you understand that it's the same thing. They're equally
Yeah.
awesome.
When
Nice,
he
it is.
says
Welcome back.
when he says "How are you?" and then he goes like he like cringes. He's like, "Ooh, no." Exactly what I should not have said.
Yes. It's a prank call, but it's a high stakes
so
prank call. I love it. I love it so much.
Favorite Leia moment? Because we haven't really talked about Leia, unfortunately, either.
I know. Mm.
I would say, I mean, also the trash, into the trash,
That's a good
into
one.
the trash, flyboy. So,
Out of the fire into the trash.
and she just, we see her as this. She's a princess, but she's not really who we think she is off the bat. She's wearing all white, all clean and glamored up, I guess is the term I'll use. But then we see her grab the blaster and start going ham with it,
Yeah.
just like one of the boys. So it's pretty cool.
Start going ham with it. I haven't done that in a
Yeah.
long time.
She
I like
was.
it. Yeah, she
I
definitely
love
was.
that.
I love the detail in Bloodline, where they talk about how they talk about Ransom Castrofo's accent, and they talk about how Leia made fun of Tarkin's accent when she first met him in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Because we get that like
yeah.
that, your foul
When
stench
talking.
when I was brought on board.
Oh,
But like
yeah.
she says it like in almost like a faux English accent, and it was always like a slip up where it's like, why is Carrie doing this? But now it's like part of the lore. She was making fun of him, and I think that's so funny.
Trash talker, big trash
Yeah.
talker, the best.
And even crapping on Darth Vader himself. I mean, how,
Yes. That
She
was
wasn't-
my
she was
favorite moment.
fearless. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my favorite at the beginning. And it's so much better with the context of Rogue One that she's just seen him go on this rampage and she knows that he just saw her ship blast away from Scarif.
But she's like,
And
And
yet,
she's just like, ah, no.
yeah, she just says, like, yeah, she tells him he's bold. She tells him he'll never get away with it. He's gotten away with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she does not care. That's such a great beat. I love her character so much.
It's
Leading
so
by example.
it's so Anakin.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah, it
Anakin. I
is.
mean, that's
yeah,
the funniest
it-
thing, right?
It is.
It's
Yeah,
so
Leia
Anakin.
takes after him and Luke
Everybody
takes
talks
after
about-
Padme.
Luke taking after Anakin, but she
Mhm.
does such
She's
Anakin
Anakin,
things.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
Like
yeah.
jumping into the trash. Wasn't she
Yeah.
the first one to go in? So
Yeah,
like,
because she
Yeah.
finds it and she's like, all right, let's go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's her father 100%. But tempered by Bail. She's smarter than Anakin.
Yes, she does
Yeah.
not. She's not like she doesn't run into things blindly, like Anakin. She's more collected
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Jamie, do you want to bring up the wheel?
Yes, I'll bring up the wheel and I'll leave you with my favorite Leia quote. I think and that one is probably just you came in that thing. You're braver than I thought.
You're braver than
Yes.
She's just like, well, these guys are complete bozos, but I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
So we're doing our question of the week wheel spin here.
It's spinning. It just kind of looks like it froze there.
It's all good.
What do we get?
There you go.
Favorite Jedi.
Ooh.
Favorite Jedi. Oh God.
All right, who wants to go first?
Go.
Jamie, you wanna go?
Currently, It's been about the same ever since we finished watching Rebels. It's Kanan Jarrus Jedi Knight.
I'll let you have Kanan, and then I'll.
It's been Kanan for a while. I honestly think it has been Kanan for so long because he kind of had to teach everything himself, and then he had to bestow the knowledge onto someone else, and he ended up being able to find love and then sacrificing all of it in order to save them. And it's just everything about it is just so powerful, and I just love it.
I mean, he really is the ideal Jedi because he is able to have a romance, but he's also able to let go.
Yep.
That's the thing.
He's great.
And the Force is like, good job. We'll let you see for 2 seconds.
Yep. He gets to see her one last time. He promised that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Great. Now I'm
Kanan,
sad.
Kanan is the best, and if I had gone first, I would have answered Kanan.
That's why I jumped in.
But I'll go second so that I get him. I'll say Qui-Gon.
Oh.
Sorry, AJ. I'm sorry.
All right, it's all right.
But Qui-Gon to me is also the ideal Jedi. He doesn't follow the Council's rules. He's a loose cannon Jedi who doesn't play by the rules. He's off doing his own thing, influencing dice rolls. We could maybe say that the chance cubes were loaded. Maybe. I think that's in the novelization of Phantom Menace.
Possibly.
I think.
Yeah.
But
I think there's 4 sides of one color and 2 sides of the other. There's 4 sides for Shmi and 1 for or 2 for Anakin or something like that.
AJ's trying to find the chance cubes to
I don't know where
confirm
my
that knowledge.
chance cubes
cubes. But Qui-Gon is the best. Yeah, well, that's not a
That's not a
droid.
chance cube.
We were
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about them earlier.
Good job, Matt. You know your Star Wars.
Wow.
You passed.
I passed. I'm sorry. But Qui-Gon is just the best. I love him in Master and Apprentice too, when he's struggling to kind of figure out how to connect to Obi-Wan, who's like totally this just by the books Jedi who no nonsense, and Qui-Gon's just like this loosey goosey, go with the flow kind of guy. I love the line, and I can't get the exact line in my head right now, but I love the line where Anakin is arguing with somebody, and he's like, "Don't bother arguing with him. You won't change his mind." I just love that because it's a philosophy I should live by every day, and I don't ever. But every time I do get into an argument online or something like that, I'll always think of Qui-Gon and how I'm letting him down. So eventually, I will.
You should be more Qui-Gon.
And
follow Qui-Gon's.
To go back to Master and Apprentice, he gave up a spot on the council.
On the council just to teach Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to abandon Obi-Wan. That is
how Jedi is that?
He just gets Obi-Wan, right? He's struggling to teach him, and then the Jedi Council is like, "Oh, we'll give you a seat." And Qui-Gon is like, "I just got this guy, and we're not doing well, and I really don't want him to feel like I'm abandoning him or I'm giving up on this. So I'm not going to take your position. Also because I don't like you, but I'm not going to take this position."
I'm not going to tell you that part, but
And that echoes through Obi-Wan with Anakin not giving up on him, even though there's more red flags than AJ's First Order banner behind him. That's just one flag. I just needed something. I committed to the good analogy and needed to. Yeah.
All right, favorite Jedi.
Me?
Yeah.
I expressed this opinion on the last episode of our podcast, Force Friends Rewatch, and it was controversial. Mine's a tie for the same reason. Luke Skywalker and Jay from Star Wars Visions from Star Waver, the band.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Because the beat where Luke throws away his lightsaber and rejects violence in all forms and then says, "I am a Jedi." is the plot of that episode of Visions, where Jay doesn't want to fight. He's a child thrust into a war by an order of peacekeepers. Like, we don't talk enough about how messed up that is. And he rejects it, and he turns his weapon into an instrument of art, and that is how he saves his friend. Yeah, those are my two favorite Jedi. They're ultimate Jedi.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean,
That's
I
very you.
expected Luke
It's
Skywalker. I expected that, and Luke Skywalker is obviously one of the best. He's one of my favorites.
I spend too much time up here,
but I love that Jay.
Yeah, I love him so much.
I hate to say it, I didn't even know his name, but now I'll remember that. Now I'll remember that.
Jay, beautiful voice on that
AJ.
Jay. But
Yep.
Oh yeah.
AJ, what do you have?
My favorite Jedi, now that Qui-Gon is taken, and I love Obi-Wan, but that's the obvious answer. But I'm gonna go with Cal Kestis.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the fact that we just got to play with him like in a story and like got not make choices, but you get to pick his lightsaber color and whatnot. But just like I don't know, I got like Peter Parker vibes from him. He's just a kid.
Yeah.
Not really, and it all fell apart in a crucial spot in his life when he didn't complete his training. He was still a Padawan, and he kind of had to figure it out on his own. Working in the junkyards with what's his face,
Prouf.
He still has no idea what's going on, but he's kind of found his people now, and he sort of saved the galaxy. He saved that holocron and whatnot, but I don't know. He's just a little youngster, teenager. Is he a teenager?
He's a teenager by then. Man, we
Yeah,
love
he's like
our Order
19.
66
In a big
Jedi.
galaxy. Yeah.
We love that trauma.
The Order 66 Jedi are like
The ones
like you said,
that
the
lived
trauma they go
learned
through.
Such a valuable lesson. It's
Yeah.
not, Luke represents this new era of Jedi, but really all of the Padawans that survived Order 66 represent a new era of Jedi. Cal Kestis is able to let go of the holocron that he thought would restore the Jedi. He's able to let go of the Jedi, basically, and go out and forge a path with his friends instead.
Ready for a final deep take by me?
You go
Yes.
right
Even though I
ahead.
cut you off. I think that maybe some of us like these traumatized Order 66 Jedi, as we call them, because I mean, we're all the same age here. We've gone through a lot of crap and like events in the world in our lives, so maybe we
right?
kind of like relate to that. Those are the millennial Jedi. So
Oh God, they are.
Oh gosh,
They're
yeah,
the
millennials.
They really are.
Are the Jedi that survived Order 66. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
There you go. That's
I came here for
There
that
we go.
kind of take.
good.
Sorry, I cut you
That's
off.
true
Yeah.
though. I
that's
pour so much into like my OC Sentry story. So like, and she's an Order 66 survivor. So like, good lord,
there we go.
wow, AJ, I'm about to end the podcast right now because that.
Yo.
That was that, and this is also me.
Love it.
Anyway, wow. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah. Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
me. Always a pleasure.
Love to have you on to discuss A New Hope, and honestly, we could have talked about it a lot more. It seems like we got off the
Oh, yeah.
rails as we always do, but that's okay. That's
Yeah.
what we do on the HoloNet Marauders show. Thank you, Pesto, for hanging out in the background. That's good to see you as always.
Follow him at pesto.porg on Instagram.
Oh, and Ryan, where can we find you on social media and Force Friends?
Oh, geez, if you want to do that. Force
Yeah,
Friends
yeah.
Pod on Twitter. Force Friends Rewatch is the podcast. It's really fun. We just did a deep dive into every on-screen story that involved Mandalore across all the series. We have some other fun stuff coming up. And you can find me on Instagram at rd.mio, M-I-O, rd.mio, if you'd like vegan propaganda, rants about work, and photos of the Los Angeles skyline.
That's all it is. Anyway, this has been the HoloNet Marauders podcast. You can find us everywhere at HoloNet Marauders on Instagram, on most social media. On Twitter, it is just at HoloNet Marauder. And yeah, we have the audio version of the podcast. We have a video version of the podcast in case you haven't been here. There's gonk droids walking around all the time, usually throwing around something about Tuca dolls and porgs and
Watch
droids. And
Power
there's a
Trip.
lot of content. And
On
yes, watch
our
Power
YouTube-
Trip
Power
on our
Trip.
YouTube channel. It's
Yeah,
it's
what
here.
they
It's
said.
great. It's fantastic.
Created by
It's technically why Han
our
Solo
lovely guest.
came back.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Song.
One of my favorite moments in the movie is all because of this guy, guys. All
Thank you
because
guys so
of
much for
this
listening
guy.
to the
Gotta watch it
HoloNet
to find out
Marauders
why.
podcast. We'll be back. We'll be back.